right, folks. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen now says June 5th is the drop-dead date when it comes to increasing the debt ceiling, or America will not be able to pay its bills. Now, White House and House Republicans, Senate, they've been involved in these negotiations. Republicans have been trying to demand all types of spending cuts, specifically for veterans and other social programs, food programs. But here's one of the ones that just still is baffling to me. So we have a debt problem because we want too much spending, not bringing enough revenue. Biden signed into law a bill that would actually add $80 billion over 10 years for the IRS to go after rich folks. Republicans are pissed off. They don't want that to happen. So part of the negotiations is to actually cut funding to the IRS, but you got a deficit. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Joining us now is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee from Houston, Texas, there in 3rd Ward, Texas, my high school, Jack Yates. Congresswoman, glad to have you. How you doing?
I'm good. And not only am I in 3rd Ward, Texas, I'm in front of the historic Riverside Hospital that used to serve veterans and was built way before World War II.
Oh, I know. I was born there.
It's a symbol of our community, but more importantly, a restoration of health care. That's what we plan on doing here. But it is also a symbol of the men and women who served in the United States military, because it was founded by a military family. And I provided post-traumatic stress disorder services here to veterans. And this default will cut 30 million medical appointments for our veterans. There's no rhyme or reason to what is going on in the discussions by the Republicans. They do not make the sense that we need to have.
So I'm confused, because I thought, they just love the military. And what's crazy, I've been reading these stories in the New York Times and others. So they want to cut money to veterans, but they want to cut money to the IRS, but they want to send the money for non-discretionary uses to the Department of Defense. I mean, we're already spending billions. In fact, didn't Congress approve something like 30 or 40 billion more for the Pentagon than Biden even asked for?
Absolutely. And the Pentagon budget has been, over the years that I've served, the largest budget ever. And those who are listening and viewing need to understand they're sending money that the Pentagon has not even asked for. General Austin has a budget, a framework. He understands what the men and women of the United States military need. But at the same time, they're cutting discretionary funding, which includes housing and SNAP dollars that some of our young military personnel actually use. There is no sense to where we're going. In addition, it is horrific that they would hold up any negotiations on something called the work requirements, which I voted against some 20 years ago, which they keep declaring that it's about able-bodied persons who are getting welfare. You know that's not true. What is assessed is that there are individuals who you may not see any external injuries, but have met the criteria of not being able to work. Do you want these people to be homeless? Do you want these people to go without food? Do you want to add to the thousands of homeless persons across America? The other thing is they want to claw back what we call the pandemic dollars. Well, the pandemic dollars being clawed back will kill our cities. They are using it for the homeless, which they're allowed to do. They're using it for safer cities. Right here in Houston, Texas, we've got one safe city. It is allowing us to do intervention to deal with gun trafficking and excessive guns, but it's also allowing us to use police officers effectively in areas where there is crime. What is going on here is an insensitivity to the needs of the American people and a carelessness about the issue of default. Secretary Yellen is correct. We're between June 1st and June 5th. I just got a call today to be on a 24-hour notice to return back to Washington because Democrats don't want to default. And we raised the debt ceiling. I call it we didn't default. We didn't default 3 times under Donald Trump.
What I don't understand is how hypocritical and arrogant can folk be when individuals who are there now, who not leave the House, 25% of the existing deficit was a result of spending from Donald Trump, and Kevin McCarthy wants to give lectures and sermons about fiscal conservatism?
You're absolutely right. It was the Trump tax bill that really has put us in the largest deficit that we've ever experienced. And not one single person on the Republican side wants to recapture the Trump tax cut, which was alleged and wrongly represented that the corporations, and they're my friends, I want corporations to be strong in Houston and invest back in the community. But the representation was that those dollars they saved from not paying taxes were going to be able to be utilized in our communities or reinvestment. They were used for stock buybacks. We never saw a dime. Well, here's the worst of it. You made the point because people are fearful. You hear IRS agents, everybody starts moving in a direction of fear. But look, we've gotten more revenue under Democrats because we have effectively not gone after earned income tax recipients, which has been done previously. We've looked to the avoidance crowd, the top 1% avoidance crowd who pays no taxes, which includes the former president of the United States. How horrible it was to determine he paid no taxes. But here's the worst of it. If we get through this time and we don't have a default, the Republicans plan to go back again and introduce another tax cutting bill that will then really undermine the military, undermine Homeland Security, attack Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and literally take the legs of a safety net from under the American people.
So here's the deal. McCarthy needs folks like you. He needs Democrats to vote for this because he don't have the votes on his side. So how aggressive are Democrats going to be to make sure that you don't have cuts to folks who really need the resources?
Here's the issue. It is always the Democrats that the adults are the adults in the room. And it's painful. We know when mom and dad have to scrap together whatever pennies they need to take care of the children, they make a lot of sacrifices. We're holding the line and we're fighting against these dastardly work requirements, these draconian cuts, this nonsensical lack of recognition that these IRS agents are in fact utilized to bring revenue in to support this nation and to support military and to support veterans. Veterans have been calling and saying, we're going to lose benefits and our medical appointments. But here's the real crux of the issue. We can't default. Democrats are going to be the real cushion for defaulting. Now, I have a backup plan. I believe if we get to the point of ridiculousness, the President of the United States, I'm a member of the Constitution Subcommittee on Judiciary. I got to protect Houston. I got to protect cities and counties. This is where the people are. Not even in the states. It's the cities that where the people are. Let's use the 14th Amendment, the constitutional provision that allows the president to stand up our full faith and credit. Let's have that happen over the disarray that's in the Republican conference. I think the American people deserve that. We owe that to them. We don't owe them a default. We owe them the responsibility that adults will take care of their respective persons under their jurisdiction, their custody, their children. They do it all the time. They sacrifice, they tighten their belts, they sell the car. They might even move out of their house in order to take care of their children. Well, we as Democrats, and I've been there long enough, I've been through this process before. Default is ugly. And the budget that these Republicans put forward was an ugly budget. Even saying that as a member of the Budget Committee, we still can negotiate after avoiding a default. But I believe that if we cannot find reason or even rhyme, we need to use the 14th Amendment. And I've signed a letter and sent to the President of the United States to use that authority. And we don't know who would even have standing to sue President Biden. The Congress wouldn't have standing. We're not going to be injured. And who of the American people would sue the President of the United States when we are saving the country? So if it gets to that, Roland, we are rolling, and we want the president to roll with the 14th Amendment authority that was used under the Civil War to ensure that this nation continues to be the economic leader of the country, that the dollar continues to be secure, that the world markets do not tumble, that our credit is not downsized. All of that impacts student loans, people purchasing homes and cars, people investing in businesses. I want to worry about the American people. I'm not trying to get a political hit. And so if we have to do something that is enormously challenging, let's do it.
All right, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Say what's up to everybody in Third Ward.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I just sit here and laugh, Michael, when I hear these, again, Republicans, again, loving the military. They ain't got no problem with slashing anything that helps veterans.
Well, Roland, they love police until the coup took place January 6, 2021, and 140 police officers were assaulted by Donald Trump's domestic terrorists that he sent to the U.S. Capitol building to overthrow the government so he can stay in office. So they backed the blue until the coup. They loved the FBI until the FBI was investigating Donald Trump. And they don't want the IRS to do things like maybe investigate Donald Trump's taxes. They don't want the IRS to audit their billionaire donors, things of this nature. So Republicans are total hypocrites. But it's important for people to know, when you look at federal payments that are at risk of the U.S. government defaulting, June 1st, $10 billion military pay and retirement, $47 billion in payments to Medicare providers, June 2nd, $25 billion to Social Security benefits. June 5th, $1 billion in SNAP food and benefits. June 6th, $6 billion in Medicare reimbursements to states, etc. Let senior citizens not get their check on time and see what happens, see the hell that they raise. So this is what happens when these domestic terrorists, these coup plotters, are in charge of the House of Representatives and are trying to damage the economy, wreck the economy to hurt Biden when it comes to the 2024 presidential elections. This is how elections have consequences.
Xavier.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we're coming down to the line here, and Democrats are in a position with the president to use the 14th Amendment. What if Republicans want that to happen? What if they want that precedent to happen? We've seen an insurrection. We've seen unprecedented laws that have been passed by Republicans in various states. To look at this as a normal way to operate, I know that the debt ceiling has happened plenty of times and there's been many tough negotiations before, but the Republicans do not see governing in good faith, definitely, as before. And wanting a collapse, wanting Joe Biden to then put forward the 14th Amendment so that they can use it for whatever purposes, dastardly purposes they think in the future, if they're ever in a position to have a Republican president in office. And so it's a dangerous precedent to set. Because then it will be used by the other side as well. So I'm really interested to see, are Republicans really serious about this? Because we know they're children. They don't really care about the country. But how far will they go to be able to advance their current and future political causes?
Kelly.
Well, to Xavier's point about the fear of Republicans possibly using tools that Democrats have at their disposal right now in the future, I would push against that just a little bit, in that I don't think we should care, because they don't. We are in a fight or flight situation all of the time. And with Democrats specifically, I am personally tired of the Democrats consistently playing defense when they have the tools to play offense ahead of time to offset whatever the Republicans have going on. The Republicans have a history of strategy and playing the long game. Democrats have a history of playing crybaby when they do. And once we dismantle that pattern, I think we can actually see progress in this country. We should not be concerned with what the opposing side is doing or could do, really, when we are in a situation where we can't afford to do anything other than what we have to do. Like, precedent is out the window at this point. We have never been in this position before. So why should we care about the fundamentalism and originalism and history and the like when this in itself is unprecedented? And Democrats need to get on the ball with that. They need to come to terms with the fact that respect is out the window and they just need to play ball.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.